Hey everyone, I'm James, and this is Covetous Imp Gaming, and this week we're going to talk about your party's final moments leading up to the battle with Strahd von Zarovich. Before we get started, please, if you haven't done so already, like this video, leave us a comment below about videos you would like to see in the future, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're alerted when we release our future content, and check us out over on Facebook and Patreon. Those links are down below. Now, what do I mean by your party's final moments leading up to the battle with Strahd? This is your party's assault on Castle Ravenloft, and it doesn't need to be encounter after encounter, skill challenge after skill challenge. By all means, there should be some encounters happening, but if you followed previous videos that I've made, some of this can kind of go off as a cinematic encounter as opposed to a skill or a combat encounter. So your party has gathered the treasures of Barovia, and they've made allies along the way, be it the Wereravens, the werewolves, or the barbarians from Mount Balanok. And through these allies, they can form a strike force to kind of spearhead the entrance into the castle. Now, if your party went to dinner with Strahd, that's a good place to kind of foreshadow the presence of all the gargoyles along the drawbridge and the roof of the castle. And those wereravens or werewolves or the barbarians, any one of those groups can at least distract all those gargoyles and allow for the party to make their way across the drawbridge unimpeded. As the party works their way across the bridge, they'll see a werewolf get picked up by a gargoyle and flung into the ravine below, as another gargoyle has its wings ripped off and it gets kicked off by a different werewolf. As they almost make their full way across the bridge, they will see in the courtyard of Castle Ravenloft, Strahd standing there defiantly. But this isn't Strahd. It's one of his consorts, Escher, under the guise of disguised self. Now, Strahd sees everything. He is actively scrying on Escher, watching this battle about to take place. And Escher's trained. Escher knows that it is his lot in life to take this hit for his master. And he will perform accordingly and fight the party as if he were Strahd. Now, there will be a couple little hints like, oh man, a 15 hit against Strahd? Like, this can't be the real Strahd. But it won't be perfectly evident until the party lands a good hit or they sink a really good smite into him. And instead of letting out that warrior's grunt that they would expect from Strahd, he lets out a pathetic whimper. And at that moment, the party should be clued in that this is not Strahd, if they didn't already figure out that their final battle happens not in the courtyard, but in somewhere else in the castle, according to their reading at least. If the party has lost control of Irina or just doesn't have a good idea of where she is right now, they haven't seen her lately, putting her in the courtyard as well as Anastasia disguised as Irina is another great way to get another one of Strahd's consorts into battle and kind of just wearing down resources. That's what Strahd wants them to do. He wants them to wear down resources before the final confrontation. So inside the castle, your party should have been clued in, whether it being exploring the castle after dinner by Van Richten or Exanther in the Amber Temple, about the presence and power of the Heart of Sorrow. Now, rather than leaving it around for someone to just destroy, Strahd will have moved it to the location of the final encounter. And I'll go into more detail next week about the Heart of Sorrow when I cover the battle with Strahd. So your next wild card in all of this is Rahadin. Now, I personally like to put Rahadin close to the Amber Temple on his way to Make a deal with a dark power. In the event of Strahd's demise, he will swoop in and claim the throne, rather than let a party member or someone else try to take the throne from them. If you choose to not do this, Rahadin will hide somewhere between the front door of Castle Ravenloft and the final encounter, waiting for the perfect moment to strike at the party. So the next big thing is the traps. I think the traps in the castle, some of them are a little much, but some of them are well thought out. I think the ones that get the party into the dungeons of the castle are great. Getting them onto that floor, especially if your final battle is happening anywhere in the crypts, getting to the dungeon and having to work your way through that whole area and then getting dropped out into the crypt is really a lucky way to just get your party into that area. It's not overly deadly, but if they all happen to just be blindly walking through the castle and all end up in the dungeon, then that's great. If you get them split up, that can also be great. So my next one is Cyrus Bellevue. I think that he is going to not be aggressive towards the party, even if they're on the lower levels. He is going to claim, I serve Castle Ravenloft, I don't serve Strahd. So if one of you is going to be the Lord of Barovia when tonight's over, then I serve you, and I didn't see you, and you didn't see me. The other big encounter on that floor is the Barovian witches that are performing their ritual. Now, if your party has killed Baba Lysaga, I think some nice flavor to kind of throw into this is that they're performing the ritual inside the castle that will bring Baba Lysaga back. Now, onto the crypts. Inside the crypts, there's about 42 separate crypts. Each one of them the final resting place for a joke, a key person in the history of Barovia, even a party member. But it's also the home of some very powerful magic items. A Staff of Power, the Thigh Bone of St. Markovia, and the Luck Blade. Now, I know Strahd is a wizard. He knows what's in his house. And he would not leave a Luck Blade just floating around. So everything else is there. The Luck Blade is on Strahd's person. And I don't let him use the Charge of Wish, but I do let him use the single reroll for the day. Now, these items that the party finds, I would remove that 1 hour attunement time and let them gain access to them right away. The party probably doesn't have an hour for a short rest or anything like that while roaming around the castle when Strahd already knows they're here. Once they've explored the castle and scooped up what they can and they're ready to make their way into that final room where the battle is going to take place, Strahd awaits, defiant as ever, to deliver his monologue and his final battle. And we'll pick it up there next week with the final battle against Strahd von Zarovich. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next week with Strahd.